First, I want to introduce our panelists. And at any given time when you're moderating, you want to get to the panelists a little bit more. And in addition, you want to search for something in common that you relate to. I'll try to add that as I introduce them. Candy is the Hong Kong Economic Trade Office in New York, an office of the Hong Kong Special Administration Regional Government, has been promoting and strengthening economic development and trade between Hong Kong and the 31 eastern states over the last 2 decades. And Candy is going to tell you a little more about herself, but I do want to share something in common that I have with Candy. I was born in Hong Kong. Actually, I still have my Hong Kong ID. I don't know what do you still recognize. Welcome, welcome. Next, we have Stella Su. Stella is the Managing Director of Georgia Department of Economic Development and the China District, as they call it. In this role, she managed foreign direct investment and government relations between Georgia and China. She's fluent in English and Chinese. I don't speak either one of those languages. She's passionate. This one she wanted to make sure that I talk about it, in helping students. Any students here? There you go. In finding internship and actually starting your career. So make sure you talk to her afterward. Lucy Liu. Lucy Liu is actually a mystery to me. Because we're good friends. I haven't been able to contact her. And I said to her about, 12:45? I said, we haven't seen Lucy. I haven't heard from her. And then she said, well, she just put in a $5,000 check. She's coming. Lucy, welcome. Lucy Liu is the CEO and founder of, I don't know how to pronounce it, AI Legal. Do you call it something?
I think AI represents the application.
Okay, sounds great. It's a powerful cloud-based contract automation platform. It simplifies contract management anytime, anywhere. AI Legal helps you seamlessly automate and manage the life cycle of contracts and legal documents with team collaboration. What we have in common is we are serving on the SAUPO advisory board. We actually are alumni from Illinois Institute of Technology. So she's from the Kent Law School, and I'm from the Computer Science Department. In fact, I don't want to show you my age, but this is my 50th anniversary pin from the Computer Science Department at IIT. Last but not least, saving the best for last. And we always say ladies go first, but us gentlemen sometimes feel like we're being left out. I try to learn how to pronounce people's names. Anything more than 3 characters, the last name is tough for me. But Atar Khan is currently the director of international, especially say a Delta airline. She oversees 3 teams responsible for transatlantic, Latin America, and JV Asia sales, including Delta's JV partner. Others have over 25 years of experience in the airline industry, development, sales team, US, Caribbean, EMEA, Asia Pacific, and I can definitely says that leave and Antarctica out of your responsibilities. But what do we have in common? 2 guys with charming, good looks. No, he actually worked. Was that good? I came up there all by myself. The experience about doing business in Asia. They all have slightly different twists to what they're going to pop out. So I'm going to cover foreign investment, multicultural relationship, and how you do business with Asia in Asia. So I'm going to start with my new good friend, Candy. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello to those joining us virtually from different parts of the world. Thank you, George, for such an upbeat introduction. So we always feel a bit sleepy after lunch, but I think all of us should be quite awake. It's my great honor to speak to you today here at this forum. It's quite an exciting thing for me personally as well, because it's the first time I'm in the city of Orlando. And I experienced a lot. I arrived yesterday, but already I experienced the airport, the world's busiest airport, and I travel on Delta. I was stuck in traffic jam on the 12-lane highways that I've never come across in my life. So people always say that the level of traffic jam is a good indicator of the vibrancy of the city. So I'm totally convinced that Atlanta is an extremely vibrant city. So the panel today is called Doing Business with Asia. I'm going to spend the next few minutes discussing two questions with you. And these questions may seem like they are business 101 to many of you. But I would say, even though they seem business 101, it doesn't make them any less relevant to you or your business development. So my first question is, why Asia? You probably asked yourself this question many times already, or if it's new to you. So here is what it is. Asia is home to 60% of the world's population. According to the data from United Nations, of the 30 largest cities in the world, 21 are in Asia. In terms of purchasing power parity, the total of Asian economies has become larger than the rest of the world combined since 2020. According to the analysis of Financial Times, the total GDP in Asia is expected to reach 39 trillion in 2023 next year, surpassing the 34 trillion in the Americas and 29 trillion in Europe. And the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, or we like to call it AIIB, refers Asia as the main growth engine of the world. And that brings me to my next question. It's why Hong Kong? There are things that you may already know. Hong Kong is one of the most international cities and one of the freest economies in the world. Hong Kong is the window or the gateway, if you like, to China. Many businesses go through Hong Kong to enter the Chinese market. And in terms of flying time, if you draw a circle around 5-hour flight journey from Hong Kong, we could cover half of the world's population. Hong Kong operates under the one country, two systems framework, which enable us to enjoy the dual benefits of being a part of China, being able to partake the rapid growth opportunities in China, but at the same time, maintaining the city's unique institutional strengths, including the rule of law, a very simple and low tax regime for both individuals and businesses. Hong Kong, as one of the world's busiest financial centers, with a very liquid and vibrant capital market. Hong Kong also, this is a similarity between Hong Kong and Atlanta, one of the world's busiest airports in the world. I'm sure you understand how important it is for businesses and for the economy of a city. And Hong Kong has experienced a few turbulent years, first because of the protests in 2019 and followed by the COVID-19 pandemic alongside the rest of the world. These are the information you may already know, and I'm going to share with you some facts and figures that may be newer to you. Despite the challenging COVID-19 pandemic, Hong Kong's economy remains very stable and robust. In 2021, our GDP grew by 6.4% in real terms, which is quite impressive by any measure. Our export of goods increased by 20%, and investment expenditure rose by over 10%. In 2021, Hong Kong ranked the third globally in terms of foreign direct investment. The figure is $190 billion, only after the United States and China. And in the Global Financial Centers Index, which was published 2 weeks ago, Hong Kong maintained its third position among 190 cities in the world, trailing New York and London in terms of being a financial center. Hong Kong is Asia's largest and the world's second largest biotechnology fundraising hub. Our startup soared by 70% between 2014 to 2021. The figure is now standing at 4,000 companies. And we have witnessed the birth and development of 10 unicorns. And INT sector will continue to be an important driver of our economy. Finally, I would like to mention the Greater Bay Area Initiative. The full name should be Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area. It is an economic zone of 86 million population. In terms of GDP, it was $1.7 trillion last year. To give you a better idea, it's larger than the economy of Australia and more or less similar to the size of Canada's economy. And it shares about 12% of the overall GDP in China. So Hong Kong is playing a leading role in the Greater Bay Area in many sectors, including fintech, INT, finance, of course, environmental technology, health tech, life sciences. So you can imagine the abundant opportunities that we can tap into, not only for investing in Hong Kong, but going through Hong Kong to go to the Greater Bay Area, to expand your business, to realize your plans. I hope I have offered a useful perspective to you in answering the question, why Hong Kong, in the information I just shared with you. And we're happy to answer questions. And my office is based in New York, and please feel free to reach out to us if you would like to know more about any of the initiatives or the possibility for collaboration between your business and Hong Kong, Greater China area. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Megan, to invite me. This is I lost count maybe enough times. To share some of my personal experience through business with Asia. Actually, I am the other way around. So I am recruiting the Great China Region Company to state of Georgia. But today I'm going to talk a little bit, as I agreed with George, about multicultural and how culture influences the business decision and how important the culture, you know the culture, be aware of the culture to helping shape the business perspective, especially for those students. So I still remember I was proud of KSU alumni, and I also taught in the business school for 6 years, full-time and part-time. My subject was international management, international business. So I tried to have my students to engage in the international community. And one of my assignments is to have a cultural experience during the semester. This will be the extra credit for them to do, either participate in events or watch a movie or volunteer events and anything that help you to gain some international perspective. So for Asia, I'm from China. I was born and raised in Shanghai, but Georgia is my hometown by choice because I have been here for over 22 years. I got all my formal education here. I'm a Georgia girl and Southern girl. That's why I went to the other side of the buffet for Southern food. So when we talk about culture, I think sometimes people say, oh, it's a stereotype. Actually, in general, stereotype is not a bad thing. At least you learn something, you're aware something. For example, I just talked to my colleague, Melissa, who is specialized in Japanese project. We have a lot of similarity in Asia. For example, China, Vietnam, like Great Region, Hong Kong, Macau. But we all celebrate Chinese New Year. But for Japanese, they don't. But what we shared a lot of similarity, like eye contact. When I first came to the US, I was very scared to have making direct eye contact to my professor, especially from my superior. I was always like this, so I don't want to see them. And in America, so if you don't have eye contact, that means you're hiding something. You're not sincere. You try to lie or something like that. So I had a very difficult time to adjust to that. So one of my teachers in communication, and she taught me, say, hey, if you feel difficult to have direct eye contact, you can look at the person's forehead. So your eyes still are there, but actually you look at their forehead. So this is for an Asian person to come to the US, you have to adjust. And also like names. So, I appreciate George tried to pronounce everybody's name correctly, but it's very difficult. For example, my name in Chinese is pretty straightforward, but when people pronounce here, they had a difficult time. Because of this, I even had a Wall Street Journal reporter to interview me, because of course it's not me, it's just like a bunch of international came to the United States, study United States, and work in the United States. So they asked us what kind of cultural experience we have been through, and included that name. Stella is not my legal name. So when I go through the airport, I have to show my ID, and and sometimes they couldn't find me in the list. Oh, I said, okay, I forgot that's my legal name. So, but Stella is just for Americans to call me Stella. It's easy. So my real name is Sixing, and my last name is Xu. So in America, you call me Sixing Xu. But it's very difficult for Americans to pronounce this name. So they usually pronounce sexy shoe. So I don't want to be sexy shoes. So that's how I got to my name. Of course, every time they see Stella, they say, oh, Stella. But anyway, I just feel like everywhere you go, you have to adapt the culture. So we come back to to be familiar with Asian culture. Again, you don't have to accept all our culture, but awareness and tolerance is important. I mean, in this world. So if we have this in our mind, just other culture. No culture is superior than other culture. We just need to have the respect and tolerance. So, for example, color, black and white. I know black and white in American setting, for example, in a banquet, okay, the table, the napkins, oftentimes is black and white. But in China, black and white, or I think in most Asian countries, if you agree with me, right? In most Asian countries, black and white is only used in the funeral. So I still remember when I first got an award in a college, formerly Georgia State right now. So one of my supervisors, and she was very nice. She's an American lady. She was very nice to me. She went for a bouquet, not flower, but flower, and it was white chrysanthemum wrapped with black tissue. So I was really, stunned, but I just think about she doesn't know anything about that. So we just have to have the education opportunity. And so I really appreciate they put out this SAUPO, so a lot of people can be aware of what culture, what things, to look at. Again, I said no culture is superior than other. It's just respect, understanding, and tolerance. So I think that's all I would like to share with you. And I know I mean,
that's a great story. Thank you very much. So speaking of name, I went to the middle school, and I went into the English class. So you know what I mean. So the teacher is a Chinese teacher teaching English, British English. She pointed to Chet, hey, Todd, George. I have no idea what she said. And they go out the room to assign English name for every one of us. That's how George came about. My real name, my father gave me in Cantonese was Zhang Kao. Zhang Kao means, the way I interpret it, is conquer the world. So I give myself the name Chang Kao the Great. So my full name is George Chang Kao the Great Moon. And when I check in at the hotel, May and her staff go down Chang Kao Moon, and they couldn't find it. It was very important. Because I almost have to sleep on the street because it's my full name. Anyway, next, Lucy, you want to do it from there? Here? No. I say who goes first. We're saving the best for last. Lucy, you mind?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, it's up to you. Photograph.
I'm gonna earphone like a style. So my name is my name is Lucy Lu. I think this comes to the same story like Stella. My original Chinese name called Lu Xiaoyun. Xiaoyun starts from X. I remember when I first come here as a student, right? I first go to bank. I try to open a bank account. And now I see them for a long time. Always like the bank does not call my name. And that's what happened. Why I wait for so long? And then at the end of the year, cannot hold it anymore. I asked the bank, hey, why don't call me? Why people come later than me? They already get them the bank card. And then the banker told me, it's like, oh, because your name starts from X, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I kind of scared to call your name. That's the reason. So after that, I had changed my name like a Lucy. So right now people just know me as a Lucy. And always people say, hey, are you the Chinese angel? Okay, that time I don't know. I'm not. But anyway, that's the name, how it comes from. Then come back to asking today. This chapter talk about doing the business with Asian. And I think like me and the Stella both from mainland China. And also my husband was born in New York City, but his parents was from Hong Kong. So at home they just speak Cantonese as well. And also like I mentioned, I'm also very loyal customer Delta. And I'm the Sky Mile platinum membership. So hey, I only take an airline of the Delta. But that's the reason the world is more connected than what we thought. And then really we as a one person, how we build up a connection to the world. So I want to talk about for my first personal story first. And in fact, I was born in China. I was born from Jiangxi province. I was born from a very, very poor village. Sometimes probably you cannot even imagine how poor it would be. The poor is means at home there's no toilet, no bathroom. So when I was age 4 years old, and I had to walk 5 miles, go to the place to use the restroom, find the restroom to use it. That's really where I come from, okay? So if you have nighttime, try to hold it. Don't, you don't want to go too far away to use the restroom.
So that's the reason why the people sometimes, when I come here in the US, my daughter was born in Atlanta, in Piedmont Hospital. People just forgot, even myself, sometimes really difficult to connect. Oh, that's where I come from. So that's like, oh, really how people are so poor. People really have kind of different culture. That's the reason come back to one question. We may sometimes like even the world where they have technology everything as well, sometimes feel so isolated. You just don't know, hey, people are kind of so different. That's the reason come back to us is we have to really know the difference between the people and how we can build a connection. We need to try out what's something in common with us. We want to build a connection here as well. Our concept is like when we deal with like people from Asia, I kind of thinking first thing like respect the culture. I want to talk about the stories as well. I don't know, Mr. Kong, which country you are England from? Okay. So I'm going to talk about like one story about like my clients from India. Okay. I was run a law firm in Atlanta. I run a law firm for more than 10 years. Our business practice, like we do immigration, we do corporate law, we also do the litigation, right? So our goal is really we try to build a law firm to serve the immigrant community. That's what we are trying to do here. And we have like a huge portion of clients from the Indian community. They have different culture from Smiley, from India, from Sikh culture, all different communities as well. But one thing that's very common is like that. Sometimes I do have a lot of like Asian Indian clients with like more than over 50 years old, right? When I saw the date of birth, it's always June 1st. So I would say, hey, why everyone's June 1st? What happened? I never know that until like one day I asked a question to one of my clients. My client told me like, oh, you know what? When we were born here, my mom never know which day, exact day we were born. But when we go to school, so the teacher will ask, hey, which day you were born? So people say, okay, put the June 1st. June 1st. That's really come from the culture. So sometimes really people we born in the US very difficult for us to imagine. Hey, how can you born on a certain day? Why you want to change your date of birth? This really comes from the culture. If the parents does not really remember which day they come from, when they go to school, they just have a card say, hey, June 1st is the date of my birthday. It's really like a real story for my clients. That's where I can know, why so many clients have June 1st as the date of birth. As I know from the culture. And also second thing I want to talk about is like in addition to respect the culture is really, and also about we have to respect the people. And it's really people is like in the world, even in the US, still the world are like so different. I want to talk about another different story. What I have is, before I had my baby, I used to have my office in Macon office. And I think one day I had a consultation, one consultation there. Had one client finish the consultation of 2 o'clock. And then he sit outside, he go outside, so I did not pay attention. But after I finished my last consultation, like around 5 p.m., when I go outside with my office, I saw the guy still standing outside. So I asked him, hey, what happened? Well, why are you still staying here? Then he told me, like, hey, I have no car. I'm waiting for my friends to give me a ride to go there. That's what I feel really bad for the guy. So I was saying, hey, you know what? Come to my car. I drive you to whatever place you are and take you back home. And then during in the car, I have some like chit chat with my clients, right? That's come the stories. This client, unfortunately, he come here and overstayed his B1, B2 visa, become winter like out of like status. And then he worked in the hotel, and he pretty much like do all the labor work, do the cleaning, work, everything as well. And then the hotel offer him like one place, so he can stay in the hotel. So pretty much it's like his whole life is all in the hotel. Clean, sleep, clean, sleep, clean, sleep. Maybe once per month, have friends take him like to go to the place do some shopping. So that's the reason I talk to him anyway. I feel very bad, but I don't just look down on him because he works in the hotel, does not have like legal status. I still treat him with respect. I just try to figure out, hey, how can we help you out? And then that's the reason I luckily I help him find one way to help him file for the immigration case. And then another story part is like when he worked in the hotel, his family all the way still in the home country. he had to send the money back to home country. Whatever money he earned in the US, he sent back to home country to the family. But he's separate from the family for over 10 years to come to see me. But anyway, that's the reason the story happened probably almost 7 or 8 years ago. So I found one solution. I helped the clients file for the application. And then eventually, right now, I think he already got a green card for more than a few years. And then he bring the family, wife, kids come to the US. And I think of the last time from 1 year ago, I just met with the client from the office. So I joke with him, say, hey, do you still need to with me? I think we'll write everything. And then he said, no, I don't need it. I have my Java license. I'm like lawful permanent resident here, ready for citizenship. So the second step we talk about is really like a good way how we can treat people with respect. And also, last thing I want to say is really, we also need to be authentic, to be who we are. We know our difference. We need to respect the culture, respect the other people. That doesn't mean we have to change ourselves. We have to be authentic, be who we are. I think the God is changing everyone is very unique. You always say from Asian family, female now is more like a shy, stay at home. I can see clearly from here, we have 3 women here. So that's the reason culture, we have to be honest with who we are, be authentic. That's the reason I'm just saying is, for me, same thing as well. I have my law firm for more than 10 years. And then after 10 years, I kind of feel like my law firm is very stable. How can do the innovation? That's the reason 2 years ago, I built out one software company called AI Legal. And we do the contract legal document automation. And when I do the changing it, and now I feel, oh, this is so great. Can you guys for law firm? That's the reason I'm kind of rebranding the law firm called the AI Legal Law. I use all the technology can massively improve the efficiency. That's really sometimes you just have to be honest to who you are, who you want to be. It's not about other people define you. And good thing is with my technology, I think last year our law firm revenue grows 30%, and this year we're going 90% growth. We are high, so if any students looking for a job, want to be able to technology, come to see me. Yes. So I always think it's my personal story.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And I do want to say that Lucy is very advocate in terms of helping other people. In fact, she offered to offer a free pro bono legal service for our IIT alums. So I'm still waiting for that.
Okay. I'll wait to do that.
Last but not least, Todd, you want to do it up here or your mic up there? Whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm not going to remind you guys, you get 5 minutes. So. Where are the weapons? Right here. Yes. It works.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Dr. Gao. It's a pleasure to be here. I don't have a name as sexy as Sexy Shoe. But I've got a different name than Shoe. So my name is Genghis Khan, the ruler of the world. Charles given to me to protect my identity. The witness protection program. So we're all doing pretty well up here with our cultural stories. So actually, my name is pronounced with a flat, it's atar. There's no emphasis on either side. But in the American world, you must put emphasis on the first syllable. So it became atar. Because I went to school up in Vermont, where people weren't used to seeing people like me in school when I moved to the United States. And most people ask me, some of the most interesting questions I got were, what made you choose Vermont from New Delhi? And I would say, I didn't want to miss cows. Cows are big in Vermont, they're big in New Delhi. You can find them in the street. So that's why I chose Vermont. And then one time, one of my very English friends asked me, dude, how did you get to the airport? Do they have roads there? So I had to think for a second, and I said, no, my father actually took me to the airport on a 6-speed camel. So culture is exactly that. And culture is what we live on, right? Culture is who we are as a person. And I think you said very rightly that if we can be our authentic self, it just takes us a a long way in this life. So I've had the pleasure of living almost everywhere in the world, every continent. I've moved about 26 times, not because of the FBI or witness protection program. I've been in aviation over 30 years, having worked in every part of the world, so I've really enjoyed that. And it's allowed me to meet people from all over the world. One word that I had to completely eliminate from my vocabulary was weird, because I learned it in Vermont. That's weird, right? And once I started living around the world and working with people from all parts of the world, I had to take the word out of my vocabulary, because nothing is weird. It's all different. Everything is different, not weird. And that probably is the best education I got in one word. And when you're global, nothing is weird, right? Eat differently, people behave differently, people consume differently. You just have to be open-minded to accept all that and look at them for who they are versus how they're consuming or speaking or being, right? I loved your story about June 1. I have a lot of cousins that are June 1. I'm kidding. But that is also true in Africa. A lot of people don't know when their kids were born. So they just give them a date of birth. So when you celebrate someone's birthday, they're like, it's not my birthday, why are you? But that's in your office records. I didn't even remember that it was my birthday. So it's kind of interesting. It's not only in one part of the world, but it's in multiple places. And by the way, a quick funny story about India, which is building a lot of bathrooms right now around the country. Because India, if you've ever written the trade system in India, India is one large urinal. You will always see someone taking a dash in the farm or something. So it's not only in China that there may be lack of bathrooms that you couldn't get to. That happens everywhere else in the world. Africa is the same thing. Lots of places don't have urinals or bathrooms available. People have to go miles before they can get one. So there's commonalities whether you are in the Brazilian jungle, in Africa, in Asia, lots of places. In the United States, you can bump into lots of places that may not have easy bathroom access. When you travel in this country deeply, in the United States, whether in the South or even in boroughs of New York City, you bump into things that you cannot imagine exist in today's world. You just have to look for it to find them. So having said that, I get to work today for Delta Airlines, which flies about 200 million customers annually. Our job is to connect the world. That's how we see it, right? So we connect the world. And our job is to create relationships and build relationships. So we're all about being authentic, taking you to where you want to go safely, comfortably. And thank you for your platinum membership. And I thank you for everyone who flies Delta Airlines here today. But honestly, it makes us very happy and proud to be associated with this organization because you're all about culture and connecting people globally, making it easy for people to do what they do. So truly an honor and pleasure, and I'm happy to take any questions when the time comes. Thank you so much.
I don't want to top anybody's story. I grew up in a pigeon farm in New Territory in Hong Kong, so we did not have a bathroom. In fact, I'm actually writing a book. It's called Pigeon Farm, from Pigeon Farm, or Pigeon House to the White House. Actually, I'm not elected to the president, which is how you normally say. I'm not even eligible. But the idea is, thank you very much. So I have a true confession. You have to be authentic. I'm from Chicago. I've been doing business last 20, 30 years. And guess what airline I fly? I am 40,000 away from 1 million miles. And they got me until I got to 1 million miles. And I'll come to you and talk about flying on Delta. Anyway, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just remember, George Hancock was great. So I want to open up. I have some key ask questions. I want to open up for you to ask a question to our distinguished panelists on anything to do with doing business in Asia, about cultural differences, or anything you want to ask. have expert in foreign direct investment, expert in aviation, expert in law. So we do have two young ladies who's at the mic going around. Any questions?
Sure. So what happens is like if I meet this morning our counselor from Japan, right? I forgot his name. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, so I'm not doing it. So when we meet Japanese people, or when we meet our Chinese friends, or when we meet our African American friends, or American, or Latin American, while meeting from a business purpose, you are going to meet them and greet them, right? And if you don't do it the way they are expecting or perceiving it, that turns into a little negative side of it. I have observed it because I work for almost all continents, 50 different countries, as you did. But I always find this a little bit challenge of the cultural change because we don't know sometimes how to respect them. But the key to start a conversation with anybody is the respect. By going down or saying this way, or there are different ways to salute and greet people. So, any experience from your professional experience in terms of how you do this, and had some kind of situation where you have to deal with some consequences?
Luckily, I'm sorry to hear that you've seen the negative stuff. 14? Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that you've had to face maybe a negative side of that. I personally haven't experienced it. And I think maybe because I'm sure you've done similarly, that you prepare always before those meetings as to what is expected, right? Because every country is different, every country's expectation is different. Luckily, normally, 99% of the time, the diplomats are so well trained that their expectation is not in a box, right? They're very open to global interaction. So that's not the case. I mean, I've been in all sorts of situations where I've had to have translators, and even language wasn't common. The person didn't speak English, and not gone through those issues. I've gone through cultural nuances where something has happened during their meeting that I wasn't expecting, and I've just had to act like I didn't even see it, and just keep going.
Sure. So I will give you two examples with my personal experience.
Well, hold on a second. I'm going to ask Stella to address that, and we'll go to the next question.
101, like how do you handle your business card? And most of Chinese or people in Asia call name card, but that's business card. And also, how do you greet them, shake hands, and also when you're on the dinner table, your chairs, how do you do that? So we do a set of culture training, and with the governor's trip, we do a briefing book, and there's like highlights of the tips that you need to know. Because, for example, in Asia or in Japan or Korea and in China, oftentimes when people nod, that doesn't mean they agree with you. They just hear.
They heard you.
Yeah, especially and also a lot of bow in Japan and Korea, and just follow whatever they ask you to do. Just you have to use your intelligence, just follow what they do and just follow. So we do, and now the internet era, so you can do some 101 business etiquette on the internet and just get. So that's why I mentioned the stereotype. Sometimes not too bad because you're at least aware of things, and
Sounds like preparation is the key. So I'm going to move on to the next question. If it's okay. I want to give other people a chance to ask questions.
In different places. So my question is, with regards to doing business in Asia, how does the two practitioners, business people in Asia, do business with people in Africa or Australia? What are some things that you notice or you have learned to help make business work the right way. That makes sense. Not necessarily the right way, but to have really good relations when you're doing business.
Yeah, good business advocate for different country. Lucy, you want to take that? No. I know you want to say something earlier about
I
that.
only have, I do not have experience, I know you want, I do have experience in Africa, but I want to yield is like a, we used to come from.
You guys are so typical Asians.
I have to go first because I was born in June 1. I think, China is a very big investor in Africa. So, the Chinese are very good at researching. They may not show it, but they know more about you than they'll lead you to believe, right? They will study everything. They're very hardworking folks. Let's face it. And survival of the fittest in a country of 3 billion people, right? So they will do their homework before they go to Africa. They know how to negotiate, what to look for, and how to actually establish their business around it. So it's not us getting involved in the middle. We're just observing it from a distance, right? But it really, I mean, when you look at other countries doing business, excluding us, the United States of America, you will see business happening regardless of the geography. Right? Whether it's Australia doing business with South Africa, or it's trying to do business with North Africa. It happens, and there's mutual respect, and there's understanding, and two sides understand each other clearly as to what the needs are. That's why those factories get created and goods get made. So we think that China is the outsourcer king of the world. But China is outsourcing shoe making to Nigeria.
Yes.
So it's, there's always somebody else who's doing it for cheaper.
Okay, great. I'm going to take one of these questions that Dr. Goldman asked. So this question was asked in preparation for this meeting. I'm going to go with the first one. Since the beginning of the pandemic, much of the world has seen a noticeable drop in foreign direct investment. However, that has not been the case for much of Asia. In fact, many areas in the region have seen an increase in FDI during this period. What do you think are the main factor contributing to this? And do you see global FDI continuing in the future? And Candy would be perfect for that. Candy, maybe start?
Sensational answer would be Asia is such a charming place, continent. Once you set foot in the continent, you can never leave. You just love the people there, love the culture, love the food, love the different ways of life. The more business answer I would give is, I guess it's the trend of the world. The economic gravity has been shifting from the west to the east in the past 2 decades or so. So people have to find a place to put their money. The pandemic itself everywhere, all over the world. And Asia and versus Europe or the US are handling the pandemic slightly differently. And the landing of pandemic, I would say, in US and Europe are a little harder than in Asia. It's still there. It's still in the US, Europe, and Asia. Look at Shanghai right now, and we all know that it's not totally gone. But relatively speaking, maybe the stability and also the growing opportunities that I just highlighted.
Yes.
That just a few months of pandemic is not going to drive it all away.
Yeah, so it was a surprise to me. We thought
Maybe we use that one. Seem to be louder. You guys hear it?
it's better now. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a surprise to me when I came back January 2020. That was my last trip from China. So I thought, okay, now I can, take a break. But surprisingly, in June, we see our business start to kick in. Especially because our fiscal year, we are not going with the calendar year. Our fiscal year is start July 1, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. For that particular fiscal year, believe it or not, we have 15 Chinese projects located in the state of Georgia and generating 1,700 jobs with $400 million investment. The reason why is because most of those companies are already doing business in the United States. They are thinking about move their operation or part of their operation or assembly to the United States, but they have not made their mind. So the pandemic has really pushed them to make this decision. For example, the flooring company, I said the 15 total projects, half of them are flooring related. So Georgia east or west is the carpet of the world or the flooring of the world. So we have 7 projects located from China to here. So what they do is, again, supply chain demand and shipping of the shipment cost is dramatically increased. So everybody is shipping like PPEs and kind of material that you need right now, but building material is also needed. So in this atmosphere, so they have to make a quick decision. Most of the company already have representation in the US, so they can quickly deploy their team from New York, California, or other places, and to here and just hit the ground. And also they learn from their hard lesson is to find a local partner. So once they have a local partner, things are getting much smoother and just much quicker. And for the trade volume, our last year 2020, July 2021 to June to now is our trade break another record. We have $166 billion trade import and export across 230 countries, and just export is $42 billion. So we didn't see any decrease but increase. Of course, the congestion made things difficult to move, but still, like Andy said, the stability and the quick recovery from China, because we are like in a different time zone. The pandemic hit us also in a different time zone. So by the time we kind of shut down, they already restarted. So I think the time difference also provide an opportunity for those companies.
Lucy, you want to add anything?
So I cannot agree with Stella, because a lot of logistic insurance, people want to invest in the US. I think Stella talk more high level, more big investors. For me, as a lawyer side, I will deal with a lot of small business owners, and they may from different countries. They may from Canada, from maybe UK, from India, from China, from maybe even all kind of countries, all along. But they probably most likely they just want to come here do the investment in the US, and of course business driven. Even my clients, right, who is Canadian citizen, they always told me like, hey, we want to come to the US, even we're Canada, we're Canadian, right? They think it's like the US always have much better business opportunity. They can make more money in the US. So that's the reason why they still in the US still really powerful. I track a lot like foreign. I'm not saying that only immigrants that want to entrepreneur, the business owner, but they want to come here in the US to make money to excel on business world. And also even my hands, I see we have so much clients come here to invest in the US. And of course, probably in the future, I want to see, will this get data we can relate it to the Georgia government as well, so you can see it's not only from high level big company, also have a small business owner from overseas. They come here to do investment. I don't know whether to count that. For me, I think they also consider foreign direct investment.
Yes.
Correct. So I think it shows data.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So with respect to your time, if I can ask Dr. Go, can I go 5 more minutes?
Maybe 3.
3 minutes. So let me just close by asking, and thank you for your attention. And I want to thank the panelists for being here. And I wanted to ask each one of you close by giving perhaps one quick takeaway for doing business in Asia. 1 minute. Somebody want to start? It's just a takeaway that they could take away from wisdom. Somebody call it golden nugget.
I still think, my personal experience is really be authentic who you are. You respect people, if you're authentic who you are, you can keep your own way. That's really my personal experience. No matter you deal with customer in Asia or to be an Asian, to survival, to excel in the US, that's my personal experience.
Thank you.
I would say I would tend to agree 100% here because you hear a lot of terms like Guanxi and how do you create relationships, and those are all good guides. But if you are not doing it authentically, your listener or your customer will know that you're just trying to do something that you've read. So as long as it's authentic, it's clear, it's you yourself, people will take you for who you are, and that's what creates success. It's just be yourself.
As a former professor at the Kennesaw, so I always like to have my students have few things take away. So if you want to work, I think one of the questions too, if you want to work for Asian companies in here or going to Asia, you just need to get your foot wet. So you need to get to the door. So try to find an internship, find a conference like that. I know it takes $250 to register, but you always can volunteer yourself. Like when I was a student at Kennesaw, I'm looking for all the opportunity under the roof. And I know sometimes it's very expensive, and you go to your dean, your chairman, I just said, this is a great conference, I want to go. Sometimes they have some extra money, they will let you go. Sometimes they say, no, sorry, we are running out of money. So just contact the organizer and say, hey, I'm willing to volunteer, I'm willing to do this, I'm willing to do that. So I think the 99% of the time you will get an opportunity. You will say, oh, this person is so determined and they are very interested in this topic and culture. Let's just get her in or get him in. So just need to start with somewhere, and those internships are the safety net for you to make a mistake. And also, I think a lot of people like us have a passion to help you, and so to help you and guide you. So allow you to go to the real world.
Great.
Everything I can think of has already been said, so I'm just to go for something very simple. Don't forget that we are all human beings. People are people. A smile is a smile, no matter which culture where you're coming from. So that's my takeaway.
Thank you. Nice wisdom. So who are the students again? Raise your hand. So I need 2 lines. Right here. 1, you get internship from Sala. 2nd, you get a job from Lucy. I'm not even kidding. Students, get up. All the students, get up.
And many students are taking internship course with me this summer. So if you want to search for employers, please do talk with the speakers.
Yes, and give yourselves a big hand.